Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Chin Up Show. We are at episode 12, I believe, and this is season 2. And here we have in the studio 4 beautiful ladies. And I just realized it's 2 M's and 2 J's. Yeah. So let me introduce you to them and them to you. This is Melissa on my nearest right. Next to her is Michelle. We also call her Pastor Michelle. And then at the back is Jessica Martin and Jessica Keng. So 2 Jessicas, Michelle and Melissa, all married and all with children. This is probably my first podcast, talking to people that all are of the same, status, moms. So you have a daughter, a very cute, beautiful daughter that looks like the dad a lot. You have a son, a very cute son who's about 8 months old, 9 now, and it also looks like the dad more. They change they change as we go. And then Jessica Martin has got 2 sons who are older. I think the eldest is about 11, 12, okay, and 9. Jess King, 10 and 12. Okay, all right. Let me just make sure that everything is working. My microphone sounds good. Okay, my earpiece sounds good. All right. Okay, so Michelle just got back from Osaka. She and her husband are back here for our 25th anniversary. And so thank you for coming back. It's going to be great to just fellowship with you both. And a lot of people are also looking forward to seeing your son. They've seen him on my Facebook and they said, it's too cute. No, they are all just waiting. And of course, your daughter as well. Your son is at the age where I think everybody can easily play with him. I think your daughter is at the age whereby I think she's more sticking to you, right? There you go. I got a nod of approval. But, you can still wave to her from afar. We are glad to have Jessica, both the Jessicas here as well. Let me very quickly say also that Mel is, serving with her husband in Melbourne.
That's right.
Sounds like your place, no, Melbourne. And Irvin, who is the husband, is now the deputy or the assistant church plant coordinator, recently commissioned not too many months ago, but doing very, very well. Of course, you know that Jessica Martin's husband, Jason, is the CPC church plant coordinator for Keng. And of course, you know Pastor Elvin is the church plant coordinator for PJ. Michelle and Benji serves at Osaka. So, I can see also international on the front row and local at the back row. Today, I want to get straight into it. Let me just give you the background. Through the experience I've had all these years, especially in church planting, I found how important spouses and their support are to each other in order to make the ministry work. I've seen some that work very well, and actually all 4 of you are in that place whereby it's been working well. Of course, you might have your challenges and your problems, and I hope that you don't mind opening up to share so that those who are listening will benefit from okay, yeah, I know these 4 women, or I don't know these 4 women, and I'm getting to know them now. But for those who know, they'll go okay, good to know that they're doing well. I know that they're doing well. But are there any pointers that they can offer me as a wife or a husband, and more so a wife now today? I'll probably talk to the husbands later. But so important to contribute to the victory and the success of a church plant especially. Can I say this? I was praying this morning about our session, and I had a sentence just, go through my mind. And I'll say it, it's a very bold statement, but I'll say it anyway. It is only the spouse, besides, of course, the Holy Spirit. Otherwise, in terms of human relationship on earth, it's only the spouse that can either help make the ministry or break the ministry. I know it's a strong statement, but is very real. I have seen husbands give up their call and their destiny because they don't feel the support of their wives. It's very sad because God's call is so strong. Everybody else also knows it's obvious. Oh, this guy can preach well, sing well, lead well. They love him. They love both of them. And they don't really know what goes on at home, or they don't really know what goes on outside the four walls. And maybe sometimes even inside the four walls, but hidden but not so hidden. Sometimes you try to hide it in church, but only the spouse knows that roll of the eye is, there you go again, you silly fella. Or there you go again, you crazy man. Or there you go again, just all talk and, no walk. Or maybe your husband is joking with the group, and then just the facial or the movements of the body that tells you, yeah, he's funny here, but he's not like this at home. I don't know what it says, but it can say a lot. So, from my experience, I've seen the other side, the failure. I've seen, and some people could still be in ministry, but they're dragging their feet. They try to make their marriage work, try to please. And I think husbands also, definitely got a part to play. They must be sensitive to their wives. They must be, just be there for them and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's important. In fact, when I deal with the men in X-Church, X-Men Devotion especially, I always tell them that in Christ we can be better men. That means better husbands. That means better fathers. And I told Pastor Sandra also that my dream for Bloom Conference will not just be to raise up strong ladies, but good, supportive women for their homes and their families. Otherwise, sometimes we're just hearing too many messages on how to be a strong woman, independent, go fight the world and win it. And then we fight the world and win it, but our homes are in despair. And so I told Pastor Sandra, I think enough of strong women for a while, because I think all our women know how to be strong in the Lord. I think maybe in the future of Bloom, we need to hear more messages of how to strengthen our marriages, how to even strengthen our children and the way we bring them up and all that. So Pastor Sandra agrees with me. She said, she's handed it over to Jill, Dr. Jill, to lead now. And Dr. Jill agrees with me. We need to support the family more. Not just the ministry, not just the career, but the family. Because if the family goes south, it will pull down the rest. And if the family goes north, then everybody goes up, together. So, first of all, can I have some sort of a response, agreement, disagreement? I know a lot of nodding heads, and already they're watching you nod your head. They go like, okay, I think they agree. But just verbally, what do you just think about my statement I made earlier? Go ahead now. Yeah.
I can just start. I think something that struck me was that, how the marriage can make and break, or your spouse can make and break the relationship, or that just that relationship with God.
Yeah.
It reminds me that verse, don't be unequally yoked.
Yes, that's right.
So even, I guess, in the faith and in whatever you do, I guess, don't be unequally yoked. If you're not in agreement with things, then it's going to be hard to push on together. And I know there'll be seasons in life where some will be on the up and then some on the down, but then you sort of balance each other out.
That's
then you cannot have both pull down each other.
Right.
So it's sort of that, that verse that just struck me in the terms of,
that's a good verse.
Yeah,
and many young people don't really think very much about that verse today. They think this unequally yoked is just trying to make their life difficult, trying to limit their choices in life. But they don't understand that that word is not just for the now in finding your boyfriend or your future husband, but it's for a long term and long time to come, because God alone knows the challenges that we will go through that need to be founded on this unequally yoked verse, meaning to be yoked equally, so that and in times of testing and trouble, one can hold up the other, because you have same values and same vision. That's a really good point. Thank you. Michelle?
Yeah, I totally agree with Mel. And again, as we always share in church, Pastor, it's not just about marrying a fellow believer, but it's about being on the same level, having the same vision, the same values. That is so important.
Right.
Because I think for Benji and myself, we are, away from our friends and family in Osaka,
That's right.
away from our leaders and church community. And I realized that our unity is so important because it's not just our marriage that depends on our unity. Our little family depends on the unity between myself and Benji.
Yes.
Our church, our ministry, everything depends on our oneness. So I think it's so important to guard that oneness.
Yes.
And you really need to be on the same page, same vision, same heart to share everything that comes our way.
That's right. Thank you, Michelle. Anyone else?
I think as we were sharing by different ones, I think for me, the verse that came to me actually might be a controversial one is, when Bible says, wives submit to husbands and husbands loves your wife as Christ loves the church.
Yes.
I think submission is something that is very important as well. And also the other verse that came to me was, as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. So I think there are a couple of things there that I just wanted to share that, you have to make the marriage work together.
Yes.
Then be able to serve the Lord in a way, right? I mean, as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. Once both husband and wife decides on that, then that's the goal. That's the direction already.
And we're back to values again, right? They share the same values, and that's what they can say, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Yeah.
Correct. And I think that is also what Mel said, equally, when you choose your partner, you roughly already know that, okay, this is the man you want to marry, and this is going to be the future that you will have. I think that is something that, not to say that in submission there's no choice, but the choice has been made in the very beginning already. When there is courtship, when you are going through, courtship and the time of marriage as well. So it's a decision made together, and the husband is the head of the household. And I also think that verse of wives submitting to husband and husband loving your wives come in very apt as well. Because a lot of times that, I think there are a lot of strong women in this panel.
Yes.
And we also have, and also in X-Church.
Full of strong women.
And
my wife included.
The wives included, yes,
my wife
correct.
included,
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
But there's also strength in submission, actually. So there's also strength in, kind of like saying, okay, I want to make my marriage work and also be able to serve together, be able to minister to others. So I think that's where the support comes in, in terms of being supportive of, what the husband, is saying, okay, we should do this, or, making decisions in related to ministry, in the aspect, then the wives, okay, you trust this man that you marry, and therefore, you will submit, and therefore you will follow, and therefore you will support. So that's why I said it could be controversial in the beginning. Not many people can kind of like buy into this train of thought. But I do think there has worked for my marriage, and also when we tell other couples, also this is the kind of advice and sharing that we share with the other couples.
It's just God's way of doing it, lah. If you think about it, there's our way, the world's way, and God's way. And God's way is always going to be in opposition with the world's way and our way. So that's why, Jess, you might have said that it sounds hard when you say submit, wife submit. But hard only because if you take it from the world's view. But if you take it from God's view, you go like, I think, God, you have all the wisdom, and you know everything, and you put it there not to make my life difficult, but you put it there to make, because you know how it works, and you know how we work, and you know how marriages work, and you know how the world, you know everything. And so it was not there for my cruel treatment. If anything, it was there for my success. And to do it your way is to submit to you first, to God first, and to trust Him. And then only you can follow that, because I know a lot of people struggle with wives submit to your, I shouldn't say people, a lot of wives struggle, and even young women before they are married, like, what you mean, because maybe the world has made it a dirty word, has made it like a floor mat to be stepped on, And so I remember doing a message some time ago that actually if you think about one angle, attraction, even sexual attraction, submission is very sexy. That's why men run away with their secretaries. A lot of people don't understand that. Men get turned on by submission. Now, I know a lot of people probably want you to go, hey, why is Pastor talking like that? You keep the marriage alive. You keep the marriage strong. But then men's love is also very sexy. So at the end of the day, you will not see matured ladies say, oh, I want the six-pack. I want the biceps. I want the height. They will not go for after these kind of things. They want the love, the care, the nurture. That's sexy to them. I know I use the word sexy loosely. I mean, meaning the attraction. It just causes you to love this man more. It causes you want to submit. You want to give yourself, your heart, your body to someone who loves you so much. But men works differently. And so anyway, that's for probably another day. But just to say that God's wisdom is quite amazing. And if we would just follow His way, even though it sounds so stupid in the eyes of the world, it is not stupid. It is powerful.
So adding on also in regards to this verse, wives submit to your husbands as to the Lord, and of course, husbands love your wife as Christ loved the church. So I could, like what Jess mentioned as well, it's not easy, especially for wives, right? Wives submit your husband as to the Lord. But definitely, like what you mentioned as well, Pastor, that there is truth and there is wisdom in it. So for instance, I think all of us here, in the context of this talk show as well, our husbands are serving in ministry.
Yes.
And how can we be supportive spouse? And I think first is also to recognize God's call upon our husband.
Yes.
And it says, wife, submit to your husband as to the Lord. So you're doing it unto the Lord as well. And just recognizing God's calling upon our husband. And also in that framework, to also support him, to recognize his leadership, God's call. And also for wives, I believe it's not just supporting him to do what he's called to do, but in that unison of marriage, right? In that unity of marriage, that wives also to find your own ministry in the calling that God has upon our husband. So that's what I believe in.
Yeah.
And in fact, if you go back even to the origin of the creation of man and woman, Adam and Eve, God says that it is not good for a man to be alone. We'll find a helper that is comparable to him. And in another version, it says a helper that is just right for him. So I believe that when God puts husband and wife together, we are meant to help each other. It's comparable, and the helper is just right for this man. So in the context, some of us actually most of us here, our husbands are called to be church plant coordinators, right? And so that's where we recognize that, and we know that, okay, they're called to be church plant coordinator. What is my role as a wife? To be a helper that is comparable for him.
Yeah.
And also, so even as I was asking Jason, hey, I'm supposed to be on this talk show, supportive spouse. So am I supportive? So I have to ask the husband, right? So my husband also quite clever to talk one, right? So it's like, then he was like, he was reflecting, then he was like, actually, I don't really see you as a support. I see you as a partner. So I was like, oh, okay, quite clever to talk. But I guess it makes sense. Then I was like thinking, it is true in that sense, because I never felt like it was his ministry. I felt like it was our ministry, and that's how we work hand in hand together.
That's a good point, Jess. I mean, partnership is probably even stronger, But in the setting of a company, You can have silent partners. You can have partners that just put in their money and expect a profit at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, it is whoever and whatever you call it is still the support that you need to feel to be able to do what you do lah.
Yep.
And so for myself, I must say that I wouldn't be here if it was not for my wife supporting me. Now, Pa Sandra is very strong. She's probably one of the strongest ladies I've ever known. From what I know of her, of 30 years marriage now, and even a few years before that, courting, she probably doesn't submit to any man easily. But I know she's right for me because she submits to me lah. But that means that it's a choice, no? Because in your own nature, it's like, no, who are you? I'm equal with you, I can run faster, I can do more, I can, what's the word we use for women? Multitask, I can give birth, and all that kind of stuff, right? So, in many sense, they are not the weaker sex, actually, right? But Pa Sandra has chosen to submit to me. And have we not had our differences or difficulties? I remember there was one time when I went to Philippines and I was trying to lead a bunch of people that we just planted ex-Palawan. And I think she came in and she said something that was against what I was saying. And I think I can only remember that one time that I had to pull her aside to another room. I think I was young lah. I was young, pastor, young husband. So I just looked at her and said, "Don't you ever do that in front of the people when I'm talking again." I think she couldn't take it. She's like, she took it, but she couldn't take it. It's like her husband is telling her off. But I thank God that I told her off in a. There was enough sanity, enough wisdom to take her aside. But I didn't know how else to handle. So I really told her off. I said, in fact, it was very strong. Don't you ever do that again. I said to her, and she went like that. And it hurt me to see her like disappointed, but she never did it again. I think because we are learning as young couples, we are learning the husband's role, wife's role, position. What a man really wants is respect. What a woman really wants is security. Actually, that's not when I compared submission and love. Actually, the part of love is sacrifice. That's why as Jesus gave his life, so sacrifice is very attractive to women. When a woman see the man climb the ladder, go and fix the bulb, the sacrifice, the last thing the woman want to see is a guy just on the couch the whole day playing a video game. That repels you and repulses you. But a man that continues to sacrifice for his family is really very attractive. A man's attraction is in his sacrifice. A woman's attraction is in her submission. And so Pa Sandra has been that support to me. And I can say, otherwise, I'd rather not be married. And that's why I think Paul said, I'd rather you be like me. But if you're going to be married, then it's in God's plan and mind to make it even doubly more powerful. And I'm so thankful today for a supportive wife, even though I think in her nature, she might not easily submit to any man, but she's chosen to. So I want to go into this thought, right? When I commission all your men in their position, okay? You probably already answered it, Jess Martin, that we had to identify that call and go like, the word is accept. I got to accept that my husband is called, right? And then later on, you said also that, it's not just his call, but it's our call. And that's why when I commission people, I usually invite their spouse up because I recognize that it's a team work. You can't do it without your spouse's support. But the acceptance is very important. Maybe some wives haven't accepted yet. And they're finding it hard. So can you bring us through the initial thoughts when you first heard that your husband was being earmarked, okay, for leadership, for CPC role, especially now, I can see all four of you have got CPC husbands. and all four of you, the church is still alive. Hallelujah. It's not dead yet. So prayerfully, it will never be dead. But that is testament of your support already. But I just bring us through just the beginning. And then I'll ask you a few more questions before we draw to a close. What was your first thoughts? Was it in Chinese, Hamaiga? Are you sure or not? I don't know what. Or is pastor out of his mind? Or I don't know. Give us not just your final thoughts, but your inner thoughts, your beginning thoughts, okay? Because we are speaking to women now who's probably going like, does pastor really know what he's doing? This man is, whatever, okay. So, because it leads up towards the commissioning, right? So it's not just a commissioning day, where you smile and people take photo, but how you continue after that commissioning is probably how you led up to the commissioning. And if you don't settle some things in your heart, I think it's going to be tough. So, just Keng, you seem to have the microphone. Are you ready?
Oh, wow. Okay, Pastor. Yes, I am reminded of
yes. Don't worry,
your husband.
I know your husband is behind the camera. Just be honest, it's okay. Because his pastor is here and I'll protect you.
I have to be careful what I say now, but yes. I think this reminds me of the story when we first started ex-Petaling Jaya. Okay. And I thought that was, there's two parts of the story. The first part is that, of course, the context is more of like how, as wives, we felt when we begin to recognize our husband's calling in the area of ministry, right? Yeah. So I thought that, so during that time, there was a need, or rather a declaration that we will start, a church plant in Petaling Jaya.
Right.
And of course, different people came to pray, and then also, I was already in the homes in Petaling Jaya during that time, leading a homes there. And of course, there was an invitation, or to Alvin, that time Alvin, to say that, okay, you're interested to be the man to start XPJ in a way together with a team. And of course, he came to me and, said, are you ready to start? Do you want to pursue this? And I was like, whoa, let me pray about it. And I was like, of course, had a lot of fears, had a lot of kind of like, worries, or, I will
Okay, I'm going to pause you there because I want to go deeper. What were those fears and worries? Just name one or two.
I think being in a community of, when we were back in Subang Jaya, everybody was just in one place.
Right.
Our community was there. Our leaders were there.
So you had support.
We had support.
Now you're not
to launch
sure.
out. Yeah. Correct. We have to launch out.
Now you're going to support. You're going to have to support others.
Yes, correct.
Whereas in the community, you have all the support you need.
Correct.
Now when you start something new, where's my support? I know I have to support others. Where's my support? So that's one of the fears.
And also, I guess the kind of like fear of failure as well came in as well. In terms of like, okay, if
because we didn't know what we're doing.
Do we have it in our heart to start a new church plant? Because once you start, it's God's church, but we are also responsible for the sheep there and etc.
Right.
So there was that fear going on inside my heart.
Very real.
Yeah, and I said we'll pray about it, and he allowed me to pray for it as well. So of course,
how long?
Actually, I think not long, not very long. Okay. Because after that, my testimony is that we were praying about it, whether we want to take that step of faith out from the comfort of our central church plant in Subang to come out and launch out to start XPJ. And God spoke to me through Pastor Sandra's message, actually, in First Priority Conference.
Right.
And in her message, I clearly remember that she said, you must not be afraid to advance God's kingdom. Then I caught it and I said, okay, you know what? That word is for me.
Right.
And it's not if, it's like we will advance God's kingdom, there should not be any fear in doing that. And I guess that was the word for me. Yeah. And when I told my husband was like, whoa, God has,
so it's
opened the door.
It's important for the wife to actually receive a word.
Yes,
for
correct.
Herself.
For me. I think when you do ministry together, you also must be convicted yourself that you are part of that ministry. Yeah. And I always tell Alvin, I say, God has a way to speak to me. Right. God has a way to speak to you. Yeah. The way we receive and hear God's voice can be different.
Right.
But we need to allow each of our spouse to go through that, to receive something from the Lord as well. Not just, kind of say, okay, tomorrow we will do this, then I will be very shocked, because that's, for me, I'm like, I need some time to digest and process the direction.
Most women do,
So, and then after...
That's why they call women ovens and men microwave.
Yes, because, better food come out from the oven. The other thing I wanted to also add on was that after we started XPJ, I call myself the reluctant pastor's wife. Because after a while, I told my husband, I said, I don't want to become pastor's wife. But of course,
Why?
Inevitable can happen.
Tell us why. What's your perception of a pastor's wife?
I don't know, because it's just again fears of the unknown. What does that mean? And does that mean we have to take on additional pastoral wife anointing? I don't know. So it was just that.
Do you also fear the perception? Like first you were Jess. Yes. And then you had to be pastor's wife. Do you all also fear? And anyone can answer also the perception. Like suddenly you have to
of a certain standard.
Your game.
Yes.
You have to look at what you dress. You have to watch your speech. Is that part of the fear?
Yes, in a way. Yes, the extra attention that comes with it, and also the extra expectation that comes with it.
Okay.
But I just want to close my part here to say that it will come to a place whereby yes, the wife needs to accept. The wife needs to accept, okay, these are something that will happen, God will lead, and God will provide, and God will, continue to guide us through the ministry and guide me to know how to support my husband in that calling that God has given him. So it took me a while, to get there, and I will, like I said, I was the reluctant pastor's wife. I didn't want to become a pastor's wife, At that time, he wasn't yet. Yeah. And of course, later on, he got commissioned as well. Yeah. And even after that, I began, okay, you know what? Okay, now pastor's wife, I got no choice, but I will take it on with stride. I will do it anyway. This is, to advance God's kingdom, right, in a way, and we will serve we will serve God's house and God as well. So I think that's what I wanted to share in the area of, we will come to that we'll cross the bridge when we get there in this particular aspect, or the way the world calls it, and God will prepare us as wives in order to know how to grow the ministry together, not just only support the husband, but to grow the ministry together.
So two things I think. One is that you have to have the assurance from the Lord for yourself. And two is that how do you actually move from just supporting his call to moving together? Because that is another level. Because some wives will support their husband from the house. And you go. That's not bad. But another level is we'll go. We'll do. We'll carry the baby along. All the other fears that come with it, but it's better to do it together. Who's next? I'm going to get all of you sharing, so yeah.
I'll go next.
Okay.
So maybe I'll bring us back to way before Benji and I were together.
Yes.
So way before there was any attraction, we had been friends for maybe a decade or so.
Okay.
And I remember when Benji first caught a heart to start something in Japan.
Yeah.
And I think he shared it with you, Pastor, and then you guys prayed.
Yes.
And you guys made a few trips to Osaka to pray and scout the land and do some research. And at that point, I was thinking so Benji was being earmarked to lead, to be sent out to plant X Osaka. And at that point, I was thinking wow, good for him, but Benji, X Osaka alone, it's going to be very hard. I think he needs a good partner.
Do you know the story that I wouldn't have sent him if he wasn't married?
I heard something that later on.
Because Japan is very risky to send a single man.
Yeah.
Pastors there in Japan also told me, Pastor, please don't send him alone. I said, no, I know it. I know it. So we were praying.
Wow.
So yeah, go ahead.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, so I was just thinking firstly that, and then also, I guess he's the type who works better with a partner. So I was thinking he needs someone to go with him, his best friend or a good spouse, know. And then fast forward to the future, we weren't together yet, but someone prophesied to me that I'll be involved in the planting of Ex Osaka, and I thought that person was crazy. But months later, sparks flew, and eventually we got together. So I entered this partnership knowing that Ex Osaka was going to be a future, and he was the main person. So in terms of submitting, I guess I'm very blessed. God has blessed me with a good man. I don't find it difficult to submit to him because he loves me and because he is also growing. And it's just easy to submit to someone who loves you and who is also, like what you say, Pastor, sacrifice and also giving his best. So in terms of experience, sometimes when we first got together, I think a lot of people were a bit shocked. Some friends were like, are you serious? Like, they texted each other, have you heard? Benji and Michelle are together. Because I guess in the past, I was known to have a very strong personality, maybe domineering or bossy. Like, those were some of the words people used on me.
Yes.
I can't deny it's not true. So people were a bit shocked that we were together. And if you talk about experience, I have more ministry experience, more years of experience in full-time ministry.
You were pastor first. You were campus pastor,
And I'm also a few years older than Benji as well. So there were all these things, right?
You were probably his campus pastor.
Yeah, he was on my team. He did say that I was quite bossy. But when we enter this partnership, this union of husband and wife, I know what I'm getting into. And I think because I'm very blessed to be in X Church, to have examples before me and to have heard solid teaching about the role of a wife. So, I think I entered this knowing that I'm here to support. He's also my lead pastor. We're both pastors in Ex Osaka, but he's the lead pastor.
Yes.
So there are many occasions where I have to just trust him and also trust that God will lead him and God will speak to him. And Pastor, I just want to say that I've been astounded and amazed over and over again at his growth in maturity, at the wisdom that God has given him, at how he has grown as not just a husband, but also a father and also a pastor and a church plant coordinator. So,
but you have allowed him to do that. That's the thing, sometimes when we see our men excelling, maybe humility doesn't allow us to point the finger at a supportive wife. Humility doesn't allow us to point the finger to ourselves. We point the finger back to God. But he couldn't have done it without you, Michelle, thinking like how you thought, that you just shared that because he's lead pastor, because, and at the end of the day, it all points back to God having prepared you, as just like God spoke to just Keng, spoke to you, prepared you. And in fact, when you left for Osaka, we had to take away the campus pastor title from you, and you were all right with that because you knew that you're on a new journey now, and you wanted to also release it to the next campus pastor so that he or she can run with it. And that was your past, but then you have a future, but your future sounds very much like it was prepared by the Lord, and in your heart, you, again, like the word accept, you accepted that, and with that support, because sometimes Benji, I'm sure would have been saying to himself, "Oh, my campus pastor is now my wife, and I wonder if she's going to be bossy here in Osaka as well." I mean, men have fears too, and they're like, "Oh, how and how do I navigate this?" So for the women to go like, "No." Right, and you take that posture, which I believe you have taken, because I've also seen you in action in Osaka, and there are some parts of you I've never seen before. The wife, submissive, supporting. I've seen Benji, take the trash out. Give me 100 of push-ups. I've seen you lead the campus ministry with such effectiveness, both guys and girls under you, they knew that Michelle, when she said something, she meant business. But you, actually, I saw like a dying to that self. I saw that, a dying to that self, because you could. I know better, I'm longer than you, I've done this longer, I've been with Pastor Kenneth longer in his group of pastors, but you didn't. I saw that in Osaka, because I watched also like, okay, do we see? And I didn't see some of this old Michelle. And the old Michelle wasn't bad, no? But the old Michelle was probably not going to be healthy for the new relationship. So you are saying that you are amazed at Benji for his growth, his super development. But I want to say that I'm amazed at you for having allowed that room for him to grow.
Yeah, I guess people can change. In the Lord, people can change.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like I really see God's grace upon him, and that I really feel he's the better preacher, he's the better leader, he's the better counselor. And I really feel that
he says you are the better translator.
Okay lah, so sorry. No, but Pastor, all
Japanese.
the years of ministry experience that I have, I feel it really complements what he's doing right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Fantastic. Good.
I think I have a different story to tell.
Yeah, please.
And
you want to hear it?
I don't know, maybe like for Irvin, I'm not sure if anybody knows, but I've always knew him to have like a missions heart. So it's funny how we've been sent in a sense to Melbourne because we're living there for some time now. And when I guess before we left, I think there was a commitment to, if you're going to go to church, you're going to be in X and you're going to be serving. So it was from that point that we knew we were going to be planted and rooted in X. So
and both of you are such a blessing to X Melbourne. Yeah.
Thanks.
Priceless, really. Yeah, please.
Yeah, so it wasn't like a shock. I guess we've been doing it for many years.
Yeah.
We have the equipment with us. We go to we set up every day, not every day, every Sunday, because most of the equipment or some part of us we share between Pastor Joe and ourselves.
Right.
And so we had to be there early, and sometimes even earlier than when I have to wake up for work actually.
Yeah.
So I'm sure this is the same for some of us here, setting up and doing all that.
Yes.
So in that sense, when the call came, I think it was not too long. It was just last year,
Maybe it was November.
Anniversary last year.
Yeah.
It wasn't a surprise. So because we've already gone through that journey and we were already doing it anyway.
Yeah.
So it was just almost like a formality to have that name in place. But it was also, just like we talked about expectations, obviously, then what does that mean? Because if you don't know, Irvin travels a lot.
Yes.
And we came from, he came here just before this was, he was on a business trip. So I guess, just understanding, what does that mean for the church?
Yes.
And how do we then continue to serve in that capacity while, making sure that we meet the expectations that others have on us. So, because nobody talks about the spouse who gets left behind, right?
Right.
And we do a bit, I guess, in Australia, we do everything ourselves. So it can be a bit tough, like I'm sure for yourself, Michelle, and then because I'm working full time as well and all that. So the travel aspect and ending on to, we bring the equipment and all that. So just behind the scenes of what we do here in Melbourne. But I think
you can get a bit lonely.
It can get a bit lonely. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
It's a fact of life,
But
because you're with your girl as well. And I mean, when he travels, quite a bit. I know many places that he goes to, but sometimes also for quite a few days. And so thank God for strong ladies in our church. Strength in that sense of not just being strong as chairwoman or politician strong, prime minister strong, but really internally, a lot of things go on, I'm sure, but you just keep coming back. In fact, let me ask you, you keep coming back to what keeps you going in those times, Mel?
I mean, we go the extra mile at work, so why shouldn't we also prioritize the church? So I guess with that in mind, we cannot, I guess, forsake that aspect as well. Sure. If we go and do all that we can to please our bosses, then what more our Father in heaven? So I guess that's also a heart check sometimes. Just where your priorities lie, and if you can do this for the world, what about His kingdom? So good. Yeah. So that's
fantastic. Thank you for that. Well, Irvin is very blessed to have you.
But I must say also, he does a lot at home, so I can fully. It's just really a partnership. So if he helps out at the house and all that, because when he is away, like on long trips and all, he does get things in order, like in the house. He gets some food, like we get frozen food sometimes in the meal because it's just too hectic coming back and figuring out, picking up and then cooking and all that. So he does support a lot in the house. So I cannot do this actually without him.
Right.
So it's a two-way relationship.
So coming back to that again, our men really need to also know what to do lah. Because it's not just supportive wife and the men just go do their thing and have no concern or care at all for their partners and their children and their home. It's much easier when men show that I know how to balance things out in my life and to have my priorities set straight. And it makes it easier, as you said. It's not easy at all, but it makes it easier then for the wife to even support more. But some wives may not totally have that also. And you might have an old school husband. And what happens then? I mean, it looks like the wife still has to support, I guess, and submit, because it's one of those things the Bible doesn't say only if he does it, then I do mine. Only if I do mine, then he do it. It's never been like that. It's all of us are first accountable to God, and we do it, as you said, unto Him first, and then the Lord will know what to do to speak to our spouse, to minister to them, to encourage them to do their part. But thank you for reminding us that Irvin, but also the men here who are represented by you ladies are good men. Are good men. So thank God. So all the men watching. We have a part to play as well, definitely. Let's keep our wives happy. Let's keep our homes happy. Do our best, do our best, do our part. And maybe even more than our part, a little bit more, because that's where the sacrifice comes in. Just go a second mile, and your wives will know. They will appreciate, and they will show you even more than we can even ask for. Our wives are very strong in that sense. So, Jess?
Yeah. So in regards to our reaction when we first heard that Jason is supposed to be the CPC, right? Church Plant Coordinator. So our reaction was similar. It was a very strong, resounding no.
And why?
Yeah. So I guess for us, we were like, because actually at that point of time, we were already a core team, core team in Keng.
Right.
So we did serve and we served along with the rest of the team as well. But I guess when you give a title like that, it kind of like give another depth of responsibility.
Yes.
Then we were like thinking, oh my goodness, like additional meetings and just different things. And of course, at that point of time, we were also learning how to manage Jerome, our neurodivergent child. And so we were like, I think it's a bit too much beyond our capacity.
Right.
So it was a resounding no. I think Elder Peng Ho and Pastor, you knew about it as well. Then, of course, then we took time to pray as well.
Yes.
Yeah, we took time to pray and allow God to speak to us. And sometimes when you really pray and you really want to ask God, sometimes, you don't really like the answer as well.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but I guess, somehow or other we prayed, he prayed, and somehow along the line we took it up. He took it up. And I remember he went to Pastor as well, Pastor Kenneth, to you, to say that, okay, I will do it for 1.5 years. Got condition. Let's see how we can do it. Yeah. I think he said, let's evaluate after 1.5 years.
This is the smart Jason Martin talking,
right? But lo and behold, I think it's close to 3 years now already that we are
double.
Yeah, you are leading Keng. And
with no sign of stopping. Hallelujah, praise God.
So of course there were times where there are thoughts of like, should we go on? Should we voice out to pastor? There are times like that.
Yeah.
Because definitely leading a church plant is not easy, and it comes with you basically have to. I think even in church planting, there were times that we actually cried. Not Jason.
Disclaimer.
More on disappointments, frustrations, but there are also a lot of joy as well in just seeing people's lives change, in seeing growth. And I would say that did we regret our decision? On my end, I mean, I can speak to on behalf of myself, is that I would say definitely no. I think it's one of the best decision in that sense, in terms of just listening and responding to God's call.
Right.
And also why I say so is that yes, there were bad times of valley, but there are times of peak as well. And most of all is that I think apart from the growth of some of the lives of our partners, I think as us, the growth in terms of our individual growth and as a couple as well.
Right.
So we do see growth in that, and we do see, so sometimes to allow for growth, it takes discomfort, it takes inconvenience, but we do see that part of growth, and I would say that I appreciate that journey, even though it may not be easy, but I guess as long as you know that you're walking in God's will, and when He calls, He will anoint. When He calls, He will grant us the grace and just the right support system. And
So good. Fantastic. We are going to take a break for a couple of minutes. But when we come back, I think I only got 2 more questions. But in those questions, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of gems. One is I'm going to ask you, in what way do you think you have given best support to your husbands, so that we can, draw out some tips. And probably my final question will be, in what ways do you think you can be the opposite? Either you've done it before, you've rolled your eyes behind his back before, you've said something in the leadership meeting that was totally against his call. I don't know, okay? But we're going to get some handles before we close this Chin Up show. Let's go for a break now. Thank you. All right then, welcome back to segment 2. I hope that you enjoyed the first segment where these ladies were just so transparent and a real blessing to us all. Now, this is the second and final segment for today. We're still thinking about the title. We started with supportive spouses, and then we go like, hopefully that doesn't discourage anybody from watching. And then we thought about maybe marriage and ministry, woman's point of view, and then later on men's point of view. So we'll see at the end of the day what we call this. But as we said before the break, we will now deal with, and hopefully the people listening will get some pointers, some encouragement, some handles about how to really, really be of support, even though we are partners. In fact, because we are partners, we want to make sure that we do well and that we help the other party, our spouses, do well. Okay, so the two questions, but we'll do one each time. The first one is that from your own experience, or even from what you've heard, what you have meditated upon, what are some of these things that you have done or can do that has really caused your husband to go, wow, either he said thank you or didn't say thank you, but if he said thank you, then wow, wife, thanks so much. You probably don't know how much that meant to me. And it could be a very simple act, or you didn't act, and even that could have been a real encouragement. He probably preached his best message that Sunday because of what you did. A smile, a pat on the back, a massage on his shoulder, and it's like, okay, not big, but wow, or you encouraged him in the morning already before, dear, you're going to preach your best message. I don't know what you did, okay? Or you took the crying child away from his hands because you knew that he had to prepare for the message. Just different things. And I hope it can be practical things. And I know coming from you ladies, it will be practical. So let's start with the positive first. And later on, even the negative, it's not so negative also. It's just going to help us go like, as young wives, we may have made some mistakes. As young wives, we said something out of timing. It was the right thing to say, but it's not the right timing. I don't know. I don't know what you will share, but I'm looking forward myself to hearing from you. Okay? So who's going to start first on the positive? Okay? Things that you thought that, these little gems, it really did help propel my husband forward, even if it's by a little bit or by much. Just Keng, you have the microphone and you're ready to share. I told Alvin just before we came back from the break that I said you got to allow your wife to just be continuously honest. No problem, Pastor. I prayed for my heart already. My heart can take it. No, I didn't say that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But thanks, Pastor, for sharing. I mean, as you were asking the question, and I was just thinking, actually, what can I share, that will be positive in the area of how wives can support their husbands in the area of ministry. And I thought long and hard, and I thought, actually, there's only one thing that keeps coming back, that I felt that, has worked for us. And also, it's something very practical, like what you have mentioned. It's not something very wow, like very revelational in a way, because I think sometimes, it's just the way couples work or different married husband and wife work. So for us, one thing that I thought we did was also to allow, the husbands to go for ministry in a way. And with us having kids, and when the kids were a bit younger, I mean, my boys are now 10 and 12. When they were a bit younger, they could be a handful. They are a handful. Of course now different kind of handful. But them wanting attention of their parents, them wanting to run around, wanting to, make a lot of noise and etc. Sometimes can be, distracting. When you want to do ministry or when you want to talk to people, you want to have meetings or you want to, conduct a training or a session, etc. So one thing that in terms of support given to my husband is that I think being able to say, okay, allowing him to go for those meetings, allowing him to attend to certain people and do the counseling or catching up with the harder men and etc. is something that we have done, So I will tell him that, okay, you have these meetings, which weekdays, weeknights you need to be away, and then I will make time to say, okay, on the times where you have those meetings or those sessions, or I will watch the boys, I will take care of the kids. Whether it's, how long, we just need to arrange the timing in terms of, what time, from what time to what time, or times whereby, both of us need to be there to minister or to go for those meetings. Then we are so blessed, because we stay nearby. Our parents are within the same area as well. So we can kind of like also say, okay, these are the times we will go together, and, let's the children be at my parents' place or his dad's place, etc. So I think these are the kind of things that help, to allow ministry to happen without kind of saying that, I expect you to be home, or I expect you to do this, So I think allowing for ministry to happen and that communication between husband and wife, that things can be worked out. There's a way, to make time happen for ministry and also time happen for family as well. So, just some practical tips there,
How do you think that could go wrong? For example, there are probably ladies out there who said, I also allow it. But I ask him to come back at 10 lah. I also allow it, but I tell him, do not go out for teh tarik sessions after that. I'm just wondering how, because allowing is one level of support.
Yeah.
Conditions in the allowance can also turn out to be the opposite. I know there's of course, I guess you got to trust your husband to go like, he won't simply go for teh tarik if he knows that I needed his help. But sometimes he does need to do, because actually the ministry begins at the teh tarik session, right? So just from you as a wife for over 10 years now, do you think that it could also go wrong with conditions, and what would your advice be?
Yeah, I think in the early stages, in the early years, it's true, there is, you can go for the meeting,
Right.
and then don't go out too long,
Right,
come
sure.
back, and sometimes you can extend, right, those
Yeah,
meetings. And in the beginning, yes, there was those
You keep texting,
sessions
you keep
where,
texting.
it's true, like,
Yeah,
are you
where
staying back, or,
Yeah.
are you coming back,
Yeah.
soon, that kind
Yeah.
of thing is very common.
Yeah.
And, so I think I used to feel that way as well, in terms of like, why you go out so long,
Yeah.
in a way, can you come back soon?
It's very real, right?
It's very real. It's very
I'm sure
real.
a lot of younger women, younger wives out there will go like, when you come call, when you coming back, leave, suddenly got 10 missed calls.
Yeah. Or even
because I want to also speak from the men's point of view, it does affect us. It does affect us, and we will cut short one. We will cut short our time. We will cut short our ministry. Maybe even cut short our calling. And then finally cut short our destiny. And then there are a lot of pastors who have actually given up because they just can't take this. Right? But the wife goes, it's natural, normal. I just ask you what time you coming back, Although I've asked you 12 times, but I just so I just want to say that it can also, and I just wanting us to be real. And you're so real to say that in the earlier days you had those feelings, yeah?
Yeah.
How do you navigate that, Jess?
I think it's more of communication. You really need to communicate your expectation.
All right.
And for both of us, we are quite, kind of like direct, to say that, can you be back by 10?
Okay.
Or can you be back by, certain time? Or if not, then you need to let me know in advance. So it's kind of really just managing each other's expectations when it comes to that. And also pre-planning, like, are you going to be out 5 nights a week? Or can you spend some time with the kids? So there's that really communicating, in balancing out the priorities between ministry, marriage, and parenting, or even work, etc., or other priorities,
Yes.
So I think, yes, allowing is one, but also allowing for, and he has also shared before that, thanks for giving me time or allowing me to, do, God's work.
It's
in
good
a
when
way.
the husbands actually appreciate, So
Yes,
when you
correct.
say it, your wives know whether they're doing it right or not so right.
Or whether it's working or not.
Because if you don't, then you just smile and go, wow, what kind of wonderful wife. Then you tell everybody you have a wonderful wife.
But the
except
wife
her.
don't know. Yeah.
So men must speak up also.
Yeah. I think that helps, in terms of like, yes, I also recognize, I begin to also recognize, and initially it was not validated, like what he said, thank you for allowing me time to go out and minister to people. I also think that, that was something that I was willing to give. Like, okay, you know what? You, like what Jess said, you're recognizing the husband has a calling, allowing him to do it, and say that, okay, you go and meet these people in peace. I will take care of the things at home.
In peace.
Yeah,
Yes.
sometimes,
Not in pieces. Sometimes the husband comes back in pieces. But because of so many things that he thought, I'm really failing as a husband, I'm a bad husband, I'm a bad father. And because sometimes we can... And the wife doesn't want to do that actually to attack you, but she has also needs.
Yes,
She has
correct,
fears,
correct.
inconveniences. The kid is really, getting on her
Tiring,
nerves,
yeah.
tiring, blah, blah, blah. And so communication at the end of the day, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah. And also the wife needing to recognize that this is your part in giving your husband to minister,
fulfill his call.
to fulfill his call, to fulfill the ministry as well. But of course, as this also changes as the family grows as well. And in the beginning, it worked, whereby the kids were kind of like also happy because they're in their space, they can do their own things and not be kind of like at the table where there was a meeting and not do anything that they want to do, for 2 hours, that kind of thing. It worked for a while, but after a while, both Alvin and I also decided, hey, actually, the kids are not watching us minister to others. We are not they're not able to see what it means to, the example of, how to, minister to others or how to be part of a church in a way and how to lead as well. So, eventually we did say, okay, he did say that, actually I think it's about time the kids come along with us.
That's good.
When we do meetings or when we minister to others, when we, catch up with different families or friends and couples, etc. So that they also know that, okay, we are here to, how we fellowship with others, how we kind of encourage other people. Why are we doing this? They also know that, why we go out and, meet different ones during the weekdays or, plan for certain meetings or age groups and etc.
Yeah.
So it evolves over time. And I said, you know what? It's time that the kids also be part of the family serving and ministering to people as well.
Yeah.
So they, it's a win-win both ways. In the beginning, something worked. And after that, also we grow along as a family to serve together.
The Lord will speak to you and guide you with your decisions and go like, okay, now is the time not to leave them at home.
Correct.
In fact, I think when they grow into their teenage years, it is time to actually involve them more.
Yeah, involvement, yes.
Whereas I think a lot of people get it the other way around. We take them when they are younger, because no choice. And then later on, leave them home when they're older. I think it looks like wisdom, but actually it's the teenage years where they learn the most.
They're observing.
They're observing and they are growing into that adulthood also in that sense. So they need to see what their parents do and how they do it and why they do it, as you said. I had to do the funeral of the late Commander Jeffrey, who was part of our church, and his uncle, because I think 500 people came for the funeral on the first night. And so many beautiful words mentioned about him. And the uncle said, I never knew Jeffrey was so popular. I never knew that he had such impact. I only now know at his funeral. And sometimes closest family members don't really know what you do and why you do it and how you do it. And if our own children can have the opportunity to catch some of these things, God can minister to them as well. If you keep them away, then it might not augur well for the future. But I want to thank you for sharing that. There are inconveniences that wives go through, lah. That is a fact, and that's why a lot of wives find it difficult because it doesn't seem fair. You're out there, so you take tarik some more, After that, lagi not fair, right? Is this what in the world is happening? This is not a good deal. We're married, we're supposed to be together, but then you're saying there's stages where you go. And then there are stages where let's go, which is a beautiful thing. So there's a evolving, right? But you don't evolve just because you feel like it. I think you evolve because the Lord begins to lead you. Like that worked for then. Now it works for this, and I'll show you how to do it. And then when they are in their later teens, campus age, whatever it is, young adulthood, it's a different story again. So we just continue to grow with the Lord as He grows us together. So that's a beautiful story. Thank you so much. And good, Elvin is here, and I must say that I'm proud of him for starting to tell his wife that these are things that work for him and validate her and appreciate her. Yeah, he's nodding his head. Good. All right. Who's next? Mel.
I guess it's me. I'm holding the mic.
Yes.
This is something I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, but I guess it can go both ways. And it's still something I'm working on. Okay. And it's something that Irvin is really good at, but I'm not really good at. Okay. So punctuality. So having to be at a specific place at a specific time. Okay. Sometimes
you were very punctual today.
I'm still working on it. Maybe because I've got external factors at play, but no. Okay. And then you add the kid to the mix. You know how it is dragging them out of the house. They kick and scream and they just don't want to do things the way you want them to. So, but Irvin's the type that he wants to be there. He wants to be in the right headspace. He doesn't like rushing around. And so for him, it's giving him that opportunity to arrive there on time. Right. And doing what he does. Okay. And so he's not there flustered and, working around. So I think that was really important for him. And for me, so I guess in supporting that, being able to try as much as we can, plan the day before is really important. and
that's so good. That's
getting
so
out the door.
That's so
Yes, on
practical.
time.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes, that's
I love
the
that.
big thing
I
for
love
us.
that. Just as practical as that. And some of us women might say, but that's me. I take a longer time, to make up. And my husband should understand, right? How come he had no problems when we were dating? Waited for me in the car for half an hour. Now, 5 minutes also cannot, no? And then we're totally in a different place though now. And you just said something so easy to understand that, I that's me. My timing, it may not be the same as my husband, but he needs that. And just to be aware and to try to make a change. Now, of course, with the kid also, so you not just wife has to kind of like align to that, but I have to align my baby also with that, just so that Irvin can have the extra half an hour, whatever it is, and be at that place whereby he can give his best is, I think, very, very helpful. Not easy. That's why I think we are having this conversation because actually it's not easy for you also, just Keng to you're going out again, right? Because if it was easy, we don't have to have this talk. But you do feel things, right? You do feel things and it's not easy. You may have to also make sacrifices. And sometimes your husband's not really asking for it, so he goes, oh, if I ask, you got trouble. Right? And some wives, they understand what I'm trying to say because you go like, don't you dare ask, because this is my time, this me time or this whatever it is. He's preparing for a message and, you're saying, no, you have the kid already. I had the kid for half a day. And he said, yeah, I don't always preach. But but the wives are not totally wrong also. I want the wives who are listening to know that we're not banging you on the head. But this is love, lah. This is sacrifice. This is family. This is support. This is marriage. Added on with ministry. So thanks, Mel, for that. Do you have anything else? I move on from you if you don't have anything else to add to that. No. Okay, we'll come back to you, okay? Okay, Michelle, okay, fine.
Okay, Michelle.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess being in ministry, sometimes it can feel lonely. And what more if you're away from your community. So I
Yes.
think it's just really being a friend to your spouse. Because sometimes back here, when you feel things and you go through stuff, you can talk to your friends and you can, share it out. But then it's us.
Yes.
Right? I mean, we do have friends, but they don't understand the context of what we're going through. So I think just being there for him to just bounce things off and sometimes trash things out, when we get upset about stuff, when we go through disappointments in doing ministry, in church, in running a church, people problems, right? Think just being there to hear each other out and also a safe space to trash it out because there are some things that we want to say that we think that we feel that I can't say to my friend or to my church member. I can share with my pastors, but sometimes there's a bit of a distance, or time difference. So it's to each other. And I know it's a safe space. I can air my grievances. He can air his grievances. And we know the right thing to do also. We need to minister to each other, encourage each other, and support each other after that. But sometimes you just need to let everything out. So sometimes we just like, okay, let's just let it all out. But after that, we close it by... We are going to air our frustrations and then we won't revisit that frustration again. But I just need a place to let it out. And then after that, we encourage each other and like, okay lah, you know what, forgive lah, be the bigger person lah. And sometimes I think we just need to be that for each other. Otherwise, it gets very lonely and difficult.
The general, I'm generalizing. So the general perception or acceptance of how men work, my dear ladies here, is that we don't share that much. Women, very easy to share one. Even with strangers, they can share. So they become friends in 5 minutes. Men take some time. And actually, we rather not share. So you telling me that you're there to be a friend to Benji, do you find him as a kind of guy that is easy to share? Or does he keep to himself and you are trying to draw it out from him? How does it work?
He shares a lot.
Okay.
He talks a lot.
All right. So although he's big size and muscles and all that, he has some feminine nature about him. Very different man. Okay. Let me ask you another question. I'm the kind of guy who keeps a lot of things to myself. Very traditional. man who my wife doesn't even know where I get money to pay the bills. She just told me only recently that she shared in the church, I actually don't know where my husband gets his money because he doesn't get paid. I don't know who he robbed. I don't know. She caused the whole church to laugh. But she told me what she said. And so for me, it's my responsibility to take care of my family. So that's why I don't want to burden my wife to think about money. And so many other things. Okay, I'm more traditional in that sense. And traditional also, again, it's not always good. Some people will go, wow, champion of this guy. But not always good because we also keep to ourselves a lot. And my wife sometimes goes like, hey, share lah, okay. Now, we share at our own time though, right? And it's not always the wife available or at the right frame of mind to hear from you at the time. When your wife wants to hear, you're not sharing. When she doesn't want to hear, you are sharing, kind of thing. So I'm not sure whether you're the right person to answer since you just said that Benji loves to share and you love to hear. But I'm going to ask, maybe it's you who's going to answer this or the rest of you. Timing. Is timing important also for the husbands to share how he shares, what he shares? Because I'd be very honest with Sandra, she is 50% on her phone because she's coordinating everything. For this anniversary, almost everything. Even the things that she's not supposed to coordinate, also she coordinates. Even the things she's not supposed to know, also she knows. And so I'm totally opposite, no? None of you 4 ladies have ever got a message from me on text, except maybe happy birthday. Because I find as that traditional man, I don't want to bother anybody. You probably never gotten me asking you for help, asking you for money, nothing, never. But I think Sandra, she, and ladies are like that. But Sandra is more, okay? She's more. Now, there were times when I finally wanted to share with her. I said, hey, Sand, and she's on the phone, no? Yeah. And you know what I mean. So I go like, see lah, you want me to share with you, but when I share with you, you're playing you're not playing your phone. She's busy. She's busy on her phone. So I just pull back and I shut. So then, and she feels it about 5 minutes later. I thought you were talking, but how can you stop talking? She realized it 5 minutes later, like I stopped talking. And then because I'm the type that if you're not listening, then I won't share. So coming back to this again. Just from the woman's point of view, the support is of course to put down your phone or to not be to be a Mary than a Martha But most of our women are martyrs also. They really, that's why they keep their home so well, keep the church so well, because there's a big Martha in you. And sometimes we have to find a Mary, that will sit with the husband. And I force the mandates one, and sometimes my wife, another mandate, because if I gave her that extra hour to do work, she will take it. So I purposely try to build my marriage with my mandates. But you know where I'm getting at? So maybe speak into that. Go ahead.
I think sometimes I'm like that also.
Okay.
Like I'm also trying to reply. I finally, because now we have a child, right? Finally, I have time to reply people. And then sometimes I have to reply in Japanese. So it's like extra effort to write correct grammar and all that, right? Or I just need to get things done. And then he's like sharing stuff. Then I'm like...
Yeah.
I know I'm not giving my best sometimes.
Yeah, right.
So it's something I've had to learn as well.
Okay.
Or sometimes I just have to say, can you just give me this moment? Give me 5 minutes to settle this thing and then let's talk more.
Okay.
So sometimes it's just communicating.
So you're aware, right? You're aware that actually helps in the support of, because your guy doesn't always, your guy talks a bit more, but your guy doesn't, in my case, your guy doesn't always talk, right? Yeah. So when he does, he's like, wait, he's like, whoa, Chinese will say, chong ma piu, wow, I just hit the lottery, and then you just kind of drop everything. But not always all the women are aware of that. Anyone here, no, okay, then let's move on. But Michelle, is that okay?
I just wanted to add on that I think the mandates that you have done, that we see on social media, I think that's really very sweet. It really gives...
It's an investment.
Yes. And it shows an example as well in terms of what. So thanks for the example, kind of like really making effort to even as married couples, no matter how many years married, we should go out on dates. We should go out and invest, in just husband and wife in a way, without the expectations of daily life in a way. So I think to kind of like add on to like when does that happen? Of sharing between husband and wife in a very free flow manner in daily life. Sometimes, like what Michelle said, we're actually doing something, and we're not in the right frame of mind to kind of listen to each other. And it's also hard to catch that time when both are busy. So I think that what worked for me and Pastor Alvin is also going out on dates, actually, to share all these things. Like what Michelle said, like air your grievances and frustrations, or kind of like also say, how do we want to now overcome this? Or how do we now, do we say, okay, you know what, we acknowledge that we're going through this. And then after that, what do you want to do? We want to park it aside first? Or we want to talk about solutions? And then also pray about it with each other, So I think one thing that we do when we realize that, actually we have been running, operating in a way whereby we are not aligning with one another, or sometimes we are running so fast, the other person just needs to have a breather in a way. Then, okay, we take like a pit stop to say, okay, let's go out for, we call it like, let's go out for a date, just the two of us. And it's a very conducive, for us, like we find it a very conducive setting. We are relaxed, we are having food, we are exploring new cuisines, and then we talk. Then we really, both are relaxed to kind of share, what we are going through, and kind of offer encouragement and support to one another. And for those times, it actually really kind of like works for the both of us. It's not just that quick charge. It's a good charge. Then that will last us a while, to say, okay, we have understanding, and this is what we will do next, as a family, as a couple.
Taking shorter accounts, accounts, because sometimes, you get that story of that person that's chopping the trees, and then that older guy who is sharpening, taking time to sharpen, and he gets more done with a sharpened axe. But you have to have that pause, right? That time to sharpen, Another thought that came to my mind is that sometimes you just have to have time to talk about us. Not always about ministry. And you can already imagine my life with Pa Sandra. You can already imagine that 99% of the time is ministry. Because she's in it as well. So one of my biggest decisions I've ever made was to retire early for the sake of my marriage. A lot of people may not ever hear this, and this is the first time probably I'm sharing it live. Is because someone had to give. And if my wife thought that she couldn't let go because so many people depended on her, then I had to let go. Because if both of us continued this way, and only heard about ministry, we will burn out. So to guard my marriage and to make sure that we can go the long haul, I needed to be home. So that when she comes back and tells me, you know what happened to Alvin today? I don't have to say, hello, I was in the same office. I go like, what happened? And so it's fresh, it's new. And it's still 90% of the decisions or the talk or discussion is ministry, but at least it's better now. And that's why I think most corporate companies don't allow their spouses to work in the same office, because I think there's wisdom there. It's not only all the other stuff all the other reasons why, but I think it actually helps. And even if the same office, I try to sometimes to make sure they are in different separate floors, separate corners, not same department, that kind of stuff. No, actually, it augurs well for the marriage. But let me ask this quick question. If your husband comes back and does talk about ministry, when you want to talk about something else, have you ever had that kind of a situation whereby you go like, ministry again? And if you have, just speak into it. Otherwise, So I guess my story will tell you that it's very real with me because of, I think every family will have it a bit different. My family is just full of ministry day in, day out. So maybe it's just from my story to yours is to also encourage you that if you ever get there, those dates are important, and try to avoid talking about the same things you talk about every day. Talk about something else. And if at all your husband comes back and really needs to talk to you about ministry, and you go, oh no, ministry again, then maybe we gotta go like, all right, I think at one of the dates I'm going to tell him, maybe minimize that, especially when you're home. But don't get angry lah. Don't get overly upset, because it must be something that he's going through in ministry that he needs to share with you. I know you took the microphone, so you got something to share.
This was actually relating to the other point where how finding time, right?
Yes.
I think especially in Malaysia's context, I find that being in the car is the best place to, I guess, have being conversation, because you're both, maybe get the husband to drive, and then you don't be on the phone or anything like that. But that's how we spend our time in our early dating years as well. He'll send me to the office, and we'll be in the house in the car just spending time and talking, because there's really not much else you can do in the car.
Right.
So you're kind of like confined to that space,
My wife likes me to drive so that she can be on the phone answering emails.
Then maybe that's counterproductive.
Yeah. So sometimes I get tempted to say, you drive and I'll talk because I only use my phone for camera. You probably got to make up your own pauses lah. And especially Malaysia, because also of the traffic, so you can chat. And I think some people I know one particular husband, I won't mention his name on this, lest his wife hears it, but he revealed to some of us that he always looks forward to pick his wife up from work, because he says, I look forward to talking to her. And so there was only one time he revealed and confessed that he was so upset with his wife, because as soon as she came in, she was on the phone until they went home, and he was waiting for her to stop so that he can say, good to have wives who are aware that this is my best moment in the car with my husband. So good. Yes.
So I think we are leading a bit into marriage as well, right? Yeah. So I guess at the end of the day, I think that when we build strong marriage, we will build a strong ministry.
Good.
Yeah. So echoing, I think I really echoing some of the discussion on even having talks. So some practical tips is so for me and Jason, we work from home on Friday. Definitely we work from home. So it's a company policy. So that's where we will find time to have our lunch or breakfast together. And that's where we spend time talking. So it's about being intentional as well, in that sense. And when our kids were younger, I remember there were times where we had to take leave because our kids are always with us, right? So you can't really have that one-to-one time. So that's where we actually, not every time, but probably once or twice a year, where we take leave just to spend time with each other. Or if we are working, then that's where we go for lunch dates. He will come over to my office to find me.
Nice.
So I guess, so it kind of like correlates. When you build a strong marriage, you build a strong ministry.
Right.
And so having so in terms of strong support in terms of ministry to the husband as well. So I really echo what all of the three ladies said here as well. Some points are relevant, but one additional point for me is that because me and Jason, our dynamics work a bit differently, because we know each other through mission trip, and we have always been serving together as a couple in the same ministry. So in that sense, it's easier to flow in that sense, because we had we met each other when we were 18 years old. We've been serving together. So it's around 20 years of serving together. So we kind of have that flow going. So in terms of a support that is that will be meaningful for him, I would think, apart from ministry, because we are talking about marriage as well, right? It's allowing him to have his Saturday mornings going cycling.
Okay.
So it can be as simple as that, and just allowing him that space to do what he wants, to pursue his hobby, that will help in a strong marriage. And so Yeah, so I remember also there was a time where he had a triathlon. It was one of his first triathlon. Actually, I don't know why I did that also, but I remember, I remembered that, so I think Jude was like probably like 2 years old, 3 years old, and then Jerome was probably 6 years old, around that age. And I remember carrying both of them in the hot sun and waiting for him at the finishing line. So, but I did it just, it's fun lah. I mean, for me, it's fun as well. And somehow or other, I just did it lah. But I think those are things that meant a lot for him as a sign of support and just, in that sense. Because I believe that a marriage is about two people giving their best to bring out the best in each other. So it can be in terms of ministry, it can be in terms of career, it can be in terms of your personal goals. So for Jason, that's his personal goal, to be a triathlete and to just have his time off and go running or cycling. So I actually would prefer that because I noticed that when there are times where, for different reasons, I say, hey, don't go lah, can you help me out this weekend? He became moody, Not as in not that he purposely become moody. I don't know. It's probably, he just needed the outlet. So I would prefer him to, release that outlet first.
So men are still boys lah. Forever. Okay, let's come to the last lap. So it looks like we know or should know our men's buttons.
Okay.
Both the on and the off buttons. You guys, you ladies, I should say, have been married for some years, some lesser than others, but it looks like you're learning the on buttons. Go running, go.
Go.
On, that is already, okay. Do you know their off buttons? Have you pressed those buttons before? Causing him to preach his worst message the next Sunday? No, I shouldn't go there. But you didn't realize as younger wives, at that time when you were younger wives, you didn't realize that, oh my word, there are two buttons to everything, on, off. And I thought I said the right thing, but I said it at the wrong time, you learned. So maybe it's a little bit of confession time lah. And confession is good for the soul lah. So let's close with everyone having maybe one confession. Or if you don't have, that's fine also. Maybe you heard of something. You realized something. You almost did it, but you didn't. Hallelujah, because God told you. So either way, we are going to close this with a good, honest, laughing or tearful session, whatever it is going to be. But our men have got off buttons, and we can put them off quite easily. That will cause their ministry also to be affected. Okay? So let's help some women out there who are like, please tell me, because I don't know why he always goes off like that. What am I doing? I didn't do anything. What? Okay. Who wants to start?
Maybe I can start.
Okay, Jess. You lead the way. Are you the longest married here? In terms of, no, we're not. I'm 30 years, but among you.
2008. Okay.
Okay, wow. So you're the senior. Okay. So senior start first.
Okay, senior start first. Now after that. Okay,
maybe go this way.
Okay. So for me, definitely the one of the incident that I remembered, but I can't remember exactly what is it. Like seriously.
I'm laughing because I'm thinking to myself, women don't remember the off days.
Actually,
we block the memory out. Like, okay, go ahead.
So during our early years of marriage, I think probably like first few years. So we've been married for how long? 16.
About 17 already this year.
17, Okay, around there, right? So my first few years of marriage, I remembered, I don't know what I said exactly, but it got him really angry because I think it was in a social circle.
Okay.
And I really cannot remember, is it in church context or family context, but I just remember that he was angry at me because I said something that kind of like put him down in front of others.
Okay.
Or, put him down in front of others. Then he told me that you don't do it again. I think probably like how Pastor, you shared just now. Don't do it again, because I think that's really not nice. And so for me, I'm quite a direct person. So sometimes when I think something, I just say. So I need to be mindful of that as well, to not put him down, whether it be privately or publicly. So public is even worse, right? So I think it boils down also to the verse that wives also submit to your husband, and also there's another verse along Ephesians 5 also, wives respect your husband, right? And I guess at the end of the day, husbands, they do want to be respected, both privately and also publicly. And there's also, so in terms of conflict as well, so of course we have conflicts as well, right?
Let me pause you there for a moment, because a thought just came to my mind. Sometimes the hardest is to get respect from your own family. Because everybody else knows you and respects you and loves your messages, for example, love your preaching, love your, your analogies, you're funny. And sometimes the biggest critic could be the one sitting right in front and going like, sure or not, and so actually is, I don't know, it takes discipline. It takes, what else did it take?
Self-control.
Self-control.
I think it's
I remember there was a speaker who spoke, African lady. She said she was married by that time, about 25 years already, but she said when she was married, early days, her husband is a very good speaker, but he was saying some things that she didn't agree. And then she turned to her mother, who was also at the front row, said, "Mom, look at him, I don't think he does that at home, and the mom said, be quiet, and she said, what do you mean, I got to let the truth be known. How can I keep it to myself? I'm not being real. She used these words to her mom. She's having this conversation with the mom at the front. She was obviously upset. The mom then turned to her and said, I'm not asking you to be real or not. I'm asking you to be mature. But that's, it's given the first 2, 3, 4 years of marriage, we're learning to be mature. Because we've never been married before. So it is, as Jesus said, a prophet is honored except in his own hometown, and so I think that's where, as we grow as couples, as husband and wife, we learn to go like, because it's I remember Dr. Chu one time saying in front of, he met with a couple, and the husband said, because Dr. Chu said, how was your fishing trip yesterday? Oh, I caught a really good sized fish, And then the wife said, where got only so small, and then Dr. Chu was very funny. He said, the husband straight away, went into his shell, because he said good size, and then she said, ikan bilis, something like that. And Dr. Chu said, it's okay to say, I think it was good size, because he said you won't go to hell, you won't go, it won't determine your salvation. So they go, but the wife said, I shouldn't lie, what? Sometimes we got our own reasons why we want to say what we want to say. But as we mature, we learn to choose our battles, Choose our battles, So coming from you, it's true. The men actually just need respect, as women need, to be cherished and nurtured. So very good. But I just wanted to bring that point out, that the hardest to get usually is from your own spouse, your own family. Continue, please. Just.
So I guess, so that's one is public. And also privately, also in terms of conflict resolution. So I'm more of a, they say that you're either a hedgehog or a rhinoceros when it comes to conflict resolution. So I think you get a picture, right? Hedgehog or rhinoceros. So I'm the rhinoceros and he's the hedgehog. So it doesn't help in that sense, because, you're supposed to respect your husband and then you're attacking like a rhinoceros. So I'm still learning. Still learning that part. But I think it gets better. I think it gets better, but I'm still learning in that sense. So that's one thing that, that kind of turns the off button as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess it boils down to respect as well.
Right.
So So in that sense,
Good. Okay. Thank you for those examples. Okay. Second longest married on this team.
Yeah, I think this is a tough question to answer.
Sure. Because he's in the studio, or
maybe. Oh, and he has left
Alvin just walked
the room.
out. Alvin has left the room. Okay, anyway. Okay.
I think, I was just thinking about the question as Jess was saying, I think that what turns him off, or discourages him is really something that I'm really learning, right? Really learning, in the area of how do we encourage, why does he act in a certain way when I do certain things, or how do I be able to kind of help him to be better, or, be more, a better version of himself in a way. And he has told me before, actually, that, the way to accept, his love, to know that he's loved, is through words of encouragement. And he has already mentioned it, but sometimes I find it, I don't know, I'm still learning how to do that, how to give words of encouragement.
Yeah.
And that's where I get really tongue-tied in a way.
Right.
And then I realized that, I don't want to blame other people. We ourselves need to be to develop and learn, right? To be able to make it work.
Yes.
That, maybe Asian families, we don't really know how to give praise. Right. And praise is also not encouragement. So sometimes I find that, do I want to be real, with this, my husband? I'm just being real. The message was okay. Then I'm like, okay, I need to figure out other ways to, make it more constructive or more encouraging.
This is so real. Yeah.
I was like, sometimes he asked me, so how was the message?
Yeah.
I said, I don't know. The kids were with me, man. Or, your kids were being very needy during the time.
Now it's your kids.
So sometimes family Sunday, the kids are, in the main service with us, right? So it's very real, when it comes to, and I know that he's also asking for encouragement, acknowledgement in a way, because that's, that was what fills the emotional tank, his emotional tank as well.
Right.
So, was that I'm learning, in terms of
I've stopped asking my wife really about how well I preach. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Actually, my wife, I think one time she, in public, said my best preacher is my husband. She said it in public lah.
And you remembered it?
I of course.
Yes,
of course.
Good job, Pastor Sam.
Very important, very important. But the thing is, I sometimes we ask for trouble when the husbands ask the wife how I did. You're asking for trouble, so husband don't ask lah. Don't ask. But sometimes she sends me a message. Oh, that was really good. So good lah. We've got to try lah, right? But okay, please finish.
I'm learning and this is something that, will help him, I think, because if we don't, it's a situation whereby if you don't say anything, he's also you get in trouble.
You're saying something.
If you say something real, also you get in trouble.
No, Jess, if you're not saying anything, you're saying something, right?
Yeah. And if I say something that, I think will encourage him, the way it's delivered, so sometimes it's it needs to be very genuine, right? So I'm learning. I'm really learning to kind of say, okay, what, can really encourage him.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I wanted to say is also that trusting in, because myself, I'm also quite independent and also quite, I have opinions of myself.
Are you a rhinoceros?
I don't know. Actually, I need to learn more about that concept. But yes, I also very direct. I will just share it as it is. And sometimes we see ourselves. You and I equals in a way, right? So we should be able to take that kind of feedback or criticism in a way. But it doesn't apply all the time. It doesn't apply all the time because sometimes the criticism can be quite harsh or can be hurtful in a way. So I'm learning, when to say what, when to be quiet, when to be, say something encouraging for the future rather than dealing with that same, during that point in time. And I also think that, what ventures you want to start or what ventures you want to do, I begin to listen first and instead of react, you want to do that? Are you sure it will work? So giving that hesitation sometimes will discourage him much more than I imagine it to be, Then, but I feel that at home, when we are like what Michelle said, it's a safe space, right? We can be ourselves.
Yeah.
But I realized that, in order to encourage and not discourage, also need to learn how to reserve our opinions, my opinions, and my reactions per se. So I think that will be something that I can add,
Yeah.
Not be so fast to put his ideas down.
Good.
I think that is something that I'm learning on a daily basis.
Yeah. I mean, I've had this conversation with Sandra as well. Because when I share ideas, dreams, and vision, and can be quite big, X-Church, AYA, all this, the people around me seem to be very excited to hear it. Except my own spouse. Because spouse live with you, so they're more practical. Where are you going to get the money? Blah, blah. Is it going to be... My wife said it before. Every time Pastor Kenneth dreams, we work. Meaning you dream, but then it ends up we working. Or we suffer. Meaning the sleepless nights or whatever it is, or extra work. But after a while, see, you only want to share your dreams with people who are excited to hear it. You will stop sharing with people who are, and then wives will start saying, how come you never share with me? Right? So it's a catch-22 situation. So it's a learning, like as you said. It's a learning. I'm sure we'll do better. But thank you for sharing that. Okay. Third longest married.
I would definitely agree with all of what is said. It probably happened to me in different separate occasions, so it's very applicable to all of us. I guess it comes down to communication is key. It's really important. So, but my side of the story is we talk about talking, but now it's the listening part. So for me, it's Irvin, saying, I told you this before, again and again. It's like you're not listening to the point that Arian picked it up, and at some point in this few weeks, she's like, "You're not listening." So things like that.
Right.
I think both ways is really important.
Yes.
Speaking and also listening.
Yes.
So it might be, multitasking is not always a good thing because you're preoccupied elsewhere and you're not really listening or hearing what the other person is saying.
Yeah.
So it doesn't register somewhere in your brain what you've actually committed or said yes to, like that, you're like, yes, but that's so that is I guess turn off button.
It can be a turn off,
For him. He's like, I told you this before, why am I telling you this again?
Right.
So that point.
I think multitaskers, good multitaskers are definitely going to face this because we believe we can give attention to everything all at once. But actually, really, everybody just gets 10%. Or some who are very good at it get 20%. But you just can't give 100% to one thing. Otherwise, you only do one thing. I guess that's also the difference between guys and girls. We thank God for multitaskers because they seem to be able to do a lot of things at one go. But you are reminding us that the husband is not a task, right? It's your husband. I like how one lady put it. She said, I'm not married to my kids. I'm married to my husband. And in her message, she should try to say that he has a very special place in my life that nobody else can share with. My children might want all my attention, but I'm not married to them. And they will leave my house in 20 years' time, or whatever it is. I'm married only to one. If you're talking about marriage, and so I guess in all our multitasking, we may have to decide what it is we shouldn't multitask.
Just to that point, it's very funny. Like, so Irvin will always tell Erin, I chose mommy, I chose to love her, but I love you. That sort of thing. Like I have to love you, but I chose to love mama.
Wow. That's powerful.
Another way of saying, married to,
Yeah. You came out as a product of two persons' love. But this lady or this man, I have to choose to love. And sometimes you have to choose to love every day. It's a daily thing, right? Yeah, because there's so many voices and so much pressure around us just demanding for our time and our attention. And sometimes we forget actually who it is that we're married to. Because some people will be married to their job, right? Married to their family, as in like their dad, their mom, and tension because, that's why dad and moms have to release because now you are married, now go and settle your own marriage. But some can't cut off that umbilical cord, and so they're continually married to their family, and they must do this, they must do that, to the irk of either the wife or the husband. Yeah, but that's a good point. Thanks, Mel. Okay, finally, the youngest married one. How many years?
We're entering our 5th year.
Whoa!
Yeah.
So not that young also, but
still the newbie here.
Yeah, newbie. Okay, good.
Yeah, so my point is actually exactly the same as Jess Martin's one. So it goes to show that whether you're the longest married or shortest married, I guess this is a point that's quite important to our men, which is that they do appreciate being respected. Respect is important to them. And it's not that Benji is demanding respect, but my respect makes or breaks his confidence or how he does things. It does affect his self-esteem.
Yeah.
So there were some social situations or during a message when he's preaching where I've become that fact checker that no one asked for. Correcting the story. No lah, it didn't go that way. That was not how the story happened. Or like, no lah, it's not like that, like kepo lah, a lot of things to say.
Yeah.
Or the grammar Nazi. Because we have to translate to Japanese sometimes. And I think sometimes when we are self-translating, so what we normally do is that if I'm not translating for him, sometimes he'll say a line in English, then he'll translate it to Japanese. And when you do it spontaneously, it's very, very difficult.
Right.
And you will make mistakes. It's not very natural for us. And so sometimes I correct him from the audience and which no ill intentions.
Sure,
I'm trying to make you look good. I'm helping you.
I'm supporting you.
I'm doing this for you. But it can shake his confidence or disrupt his flow of thought. Yeah, sometimes in social situations too, and I do that, and then it does affect him. So I've learned to maybe hold my comments till later. But we can laugh about it now sometimes.
Sure.
He'll joke like, hey, why you cram my style? I was telling the story. Sometimes when you tell story, you exaggerate some points to make it funny, right? And then I go and cram his style. But we've learned to laugh about it. But also, I think just some self-control and there's a place and time for everything.
Yeah, so good. All right, so as we draw to a close, I want to remind us what I said in the beginning was it can really make or break, not just the marriage, we're talking about the ministry. If my wife wasn't how she is, I think it would be very difficult for me to do what I do, to fulfill my call and finally my destiny. And it's no one else can do it to you. Not your staff, not your colleague, not your superior, not even your family or your spouse. Your spouse, there's just another level. There's another level. They can make you feel like champions that can take on the world, or make you feel like failure. There's just no, the word that comes out from the spouse mouth is like no other. The rolling of the eyes, the shaking of the head, every little thing counts from your spouse. It does. And sometimes if we don't understand that, we don't work with that, sometimes you come to a place whereby your heart just gets so, discouraged. It starts to break, and the day a husband is not looking at his wife's expression anymore, is a very bad day. It will lead to bad things. But as long as it still remains very important to us, it means the marriage is still in a good place. Because even the very expression on her face means the world to me. Vice versa. vice versa. We'll get the guys later on for their point of view. And I will also be very honest with them, and I'm sure they'll be honest too. But as we close, is there a 30-second advice from any of you or all of you? And why don't all of you try to do it? If there is a young married lady out there who's struggling, or not so young, been doing this for 15 years maybe, and still struggling, like, what in the world? No, why? I'm just being honest, what? I'm just, all right. 30 seconds to a minute, each one of you, okay? Okay, Jess, you got ready? Yeah.
Maybe I'll start. I think I just wanted to say that, sometimes as husband and wife, especially those who are, both are working, both are serving, both are in leadership, or, both are, having, know their purpose and, driven, in the call. I just want to say that, sometimes I have to remember, there's not a competition. We are not competing with each other, It's
Good.
not to say that I'm better worship leader, or I'm a better leader or cell group leader versus the other person, or I'm more learned or he's more learned, or, in faith, etc., or the way we deal with people. I think we should learn to kind of like, not just, celebrate, each other. And compliment each other as well. I find myself thinking that, it's not a competition. We are here together. We are building something together. And God has got a call on each of us. And, we are running towards the same goal. So, I think that will help.
That helps,
in thinking about how you want to support the spouse. Even though when we are making sacrifices, like when I was sharing the example of, I allow him, go out. I will watch the kids at home, etc. And I'm doing my part to support the ministry by doing that as well. I think that instead of, competing, why is he out there having teh tarik session, having so much fun, I'm stuck with the kids, or I'm stuck at home, I cannot plan my schedule, I cannot go out with my girlfriends, that kind of thing. I think it's not a competition. So thinking about that helps me to say, okay, I'm supporting in this way. I come to terms.
His win is your win.
Correct,
And your win is his win, and our win in that sense that the idea is not so much, you are winning, I'm losing. That's very, very tough.
It's not about what about me, or what about my time, my me time, my da. So I think that's competition in a way. But if you say, okay, I'm doing this for ABC, then I come to terms with this is my part in not only supporting my husband but building God's kingdom.
Thank you. And can I move to you, Jess?
Ken. So I guess so 3 things. Which is in relation to what I shared earlier as well, even for mom and wives that are probably struggling even through this, is that to know that basically the marriage vow and also the very origin, if you believe that God has put both of you together, just like in Genesis, it says that let me find a helper that is comparable for you, a helper that is just right for you.
Compatible.
And so your in a way your calling and your destiny is intertwined. Even as God put both of you together. And that's where that's the first realization as well, that is intertwined. And also to find your own ministry in that framework. Find where you're supposed to be, because it's easier when both are doing it together, so you won't feel so alone. I guess that's my point. And also that secondly also is that marriage is about 2 people giving their best to bring out the best in each other. And with that perspective, I guess it goes hand in hand for the husband as well. And so 2 people working it out to just do their best in bringing each other up. And it will be an individual growth for the wife as well, right? And thirdly, also that it's a process. So if you're still navigating it, it will not come, maybe it does not come naturally, does not come easily, but it's a process of becoming one. it's a process of becoming together, and it takes time and effort. And actually, another one is fourthly is that if really there are disagreements, there are frustrations, it's always good to kind of like bring it up to somebody you trust, your leader or your pastor. And I think we had that. So I really believe that in a marriage, when one falls, the other will lift the other companion up. So it has happened to me and Jason a lot of times. So sometimes I'm in my valley and he's at the peak, and vice versa. And we kind of like take turns to lift each other up. So be it in ministry, in parenting, and so on. So I remember there was a time where both of us were down. Both of us were at the valley and we cannot lift each other up. So that's where then we will send a text to Pastor, can we meet up with you? So you remember like those times where we were at a valley, that's where we needed extra support or intermediary in that sense. So that will help us to navigate it together. Yeah.
And it takes a lot of humility. That's why not everybody goes that way. Or how if they know that this is our problem, how if our pastors know, how if our leaders know. But for you and Jason to have texted us showed that, we trust in our leaders, and we could have to be open with them, but we trust them and we humble ourselves to seek for help.
Yep.
So your last point was good, because we can seek for help. If there's an impasse, if that we don't know how to navigate this, God has put people in our lives. Community, church, leaders, people who are a bit more mature, gone on a few more years than us. And just don't worry about asking for help. Don't think that, it's unnatural to ask for help, and don't be proud also. So that's important. Thank you for that. Yeah. Michelle, okay.
Do a quick one. So it's already hard enough when two people come and live under the same roof, whether it's just housemates, friends, right? What more a marriage union? Two people from different backgrounds and upbringings, and just very different people.
Yeah.
But there's no stop to us growing and changing. You don't stop growing even after you find the one and get married. So I think it's a continual journey of growing and learning to become better. And I mentioned earlier that it's easy to submit to Benji. It's easy to love him and to respect him. He makes it easy. I see his efforts by his sacrifices, by how he helps with the chores around the house, or doing the chores that I hate, or just waking up and going the extra mile so that to make my life a bit easier, which I really appreciate. But I can't just stop there and like say, wow, I have a really good husband, but what about me? What's my part? So I should also do my best to make it easy for him to live with me, for him to love me, for him to respect me, and vice versa. So, what else can I do to make it enjoyable and fun for us to do this marriage journey together?
Great. Good advice. Yeah, finally.
I feel like I'm ill-qualified for this because we're talking about ministry and all that, but more in the context of marriage, I guess it's just being able to support each other. I think it's really important. I know we talk about supporting the different perspectives of being a supportive person, and just give each other grace. I guess it's not a done deal. It will get better. Like with kids and all that, we always say it gets better. And so with more maybe practice, with more, as it becomes a routine, then it becomes easier. So I guess hang in there and like you said, get help when you need. So just hang in there.
Hang in there, folks. Women, you are strong, but sometimes you don't feel like it. But these are 4 strong women who are not just strong on the outside, but strong on the inside. They've not had it easy. But they are not giving up and learning as they go. And I'm so proud to be their pastor. And I am believing for just the best years ahead for all of you, for all of us. We're doing this out of love because we hate to see any family break down and break up because of ministry. Can you imagine that? Ministry is supposed to be beautiful. The calling of God is supposed to be beautiful. So how come something beautiful can make something ugly? as a result. No, it is not God's plan. And we should mention God again because He really is our north. He really is our anchor. And the way Jess started earlier was to say that God had to minister to her first and to speak. And everyone had a testimony. God spoke to you. God ministered to you. And every time you're down, God is the one that, finally is the one that brings us up. Even if it's through a third party like a pastor, like another friend, it's still God at the end of the day that makes a way, even where there seems to be no way. So I'm going to close with big thanks to all four of you for being so transparent, so authentic, and so honest, so willing to share. Four of you are so generous in your sharing, and I'm sure all of you, including the men that are watching this, are going to be so encouraged. And those of you who are not married yet, may these four show you, that you are to pray for the right one. Don't be unequally yoked, okay? Because you see how much is at stake, right? And it is a process. It is a learning. Give each other grace. Give each other space and time. Be forgiving. But also believe that God has the best in mind for all of us. All right? So this is Kenneth Chin signing off from the Chin Up Show. And I'd like you to leave a comment, a like, and more importantly, share it with someone you know needs to hear this. God bless you till we meet again. Bye.